No roads, no homes, just endless wilderness where every sound could be your last. 4 million years ago, Earth wasn't the planet we know today. There were no farms, no tools, no languages, only instinct and survival. The climate was harsh, switching between dry scorching days and chilling nights. The ground cracked under bare feet, and hunger was a constant ache in the belly. Our earliest ancestors, barely more than upright apes, moved in scattered groups, their eyes always scanning for food or danger. Every rustle in the grass could be a snake. Every shadow could hide a predator. The sun was unforgiving, but the nights? The nights were worse. Still, something within these beings refused to give up. They weren't the strongest or the fastest, but they were observant, aware. And for the first time in Earth's history, intelligence had entered the fight for survival. What happened when the sun went down? Part 2 will reveal the terror that hid in the darkness. When the sun vanished, fear ruled, and the hunt began. Daylight was dangerous, but nighttime? It was chaos. Without fire, without shelter, the darkness was total. The stars above couldn't light the path. Predators adapted to the dark, eyes glowing, jaws silent, feet soft on the earth. Massive leopards, monstrous snakes, and terrifying hyenas hunted under the moon. Early humans had no defense, just each other. They began to sleep in circles, placing the weakest in the center. One among them always stayed awake. A cry in the night could mean an ambush. A snap of a branch could lead to a panic run, and if you stumbled, you were lost. Every night survived felt like a miracle. They feared the dark, yes, but they also began to learn from it. They noticed which places were safer. They began to remember patterns, how to hide, when to move, when to be still. Could anything protect them from the night? Fire was their answer. Part 3 reveals how. It wasn't strength that saved them, it was a spark. A single bolt of lightning set a tree ablaze. At first, they fled, eyes wide, terrified of the red-orange beast dancing on branches. But then, they saw. The predators didn't follow. The animals kept their distance. The warmth pushed back the cold. The light pushed back the dark. Carefully, they approached. The flames cracked and hissed. One bold hand reached for a burning branch, and the future of humanity was forever changed. At first, they stole fire from nature. But slowly, they began to feed it, care for it, carry it from one place to another. They kept embers alive through storms. And one day, one spark was made by man, not nature. Fire brought cooked food. It softened meat, made bones easier to crack, warmed the sick. But more than that, it brought people closer. It created a place to gather, to sit, to share. Fire wasn't just survival, it was civilization's first light. But with warmth came unity and rivalry. In Part 4, tribes begin to rise. Survival alone was no longer enough. Now, it was about belonging. The fires became the center of the group. Around them, bonds grew. Patterns emerged. Hunters brought food. Gatherers found roots and berries. Older ones watched over the young. And slowly, groups became tribes. They moved together, ate together, defended one another. Names didn't exist, but roles did. A hunter knew his worth. A mother knew her strength. But where there's unity, competition follows. Tribes began to clash over territory, over water, over prey. The instinct to protect became the instinct to conquer. The strongest groups expanded, driving others out. Those who didn't adapt were left behind, or wiped out. Yet, from these clashes, identity was born. They began to decorate their bodies with mud, bones, feathers. Not to look beautiful, but to show who they were. They weren't just surviving. They were becoming something. So who led these tribes? And how? Part 5 uncovers the brutal rise of the Alpha. Power wasn't asked for, it was taken, with blood and fear. Every tribe had someone who rose above the rest, not because they were liked, but because they were feared. The Alpha hunted the most, fought the hardest, stood tallest. His growl silenced disputes. His glare ended arguments. But power was fragile. One mistake, one injury, one challenge, and leadership was lost. Fights were brutal. The tribe gathered around, watching in silence. The winner stayed. The loser limped away, or never moved again. Over time, something began to change. Some leaders didn't win with fists, but with plans. They trapped animals instead of chasing them. They moved quietly, struck smarter. The tribe noticed. And for the first time, strategy began to rival strength. Intelligence became a weapon. The clever began to lead. Tools changed everything. Next, in part 6, see how a single stone turned the tide of survival. It wasn't nature that gave them an edge. It was invention. A sharp stone, broken by accident, drew blood. But instead of fear, there was curiosity. That same edge could cut meat faster. It could pierce skin. It could carve wood. And that changed everything. The next time they hunted, they brought sharp stones. Later, they tied them to sticks. The spear was born. No longer did they have to run toward danger, they could strike from a distance. Hunting became more efficient. More prey meant more food. More food meant longer life, stronger bodies, better survival. Tools weren't just for hunting. They scraped bark, dug holes, broke bones, cracked nuts. For the first time, humans could shape their world, bend nature to their will. These weren't just survival tricks. These were the roots of technology. But with tools came thoughts deeper than survival. In part 7, we enter the world of rituals and meaning. They started burying their dead, but not out of fear. Out of something deeper. When a member of the group died, they didn't walk away. They paused. They dug shallow graves. Sometimes, they placed tools or food beside the body. The gesture was primitive, but powerful. It meant they remembered. They grieved. They wondered. Was this death permanent? Would this person return? They didn't have answers, but they felt the weight of the question. Some began to mark trees or paint with ash. Others danced before a hunt, as if calling to something unseen. They whispered to the stars, feared the wind, respected the thunder. These were not yet gods, but they were the beginnings of belief. The brain was no longer just reacting. It was reflecting. And that was something new. The final chapter is near. What did they leave behind? Part 8 uncovers their legacy, your origin story. They had no names. No books. But they built the beginning of everything. The first time a human used a tool, spoke a sound, comforted a child, or wondered about the sky, something changed in the world forever. We walk with tools. We live in groups. We still fear the unknown. And we still sit around fire, only now, it glows on our screens. Every hardship they faced, every instinct they sharpened, still lives in us. We are their legacy. Their world was harsh, but they survived. They adapted. They imagined. They transformed raw survival into something sacred. They didn't just endure, they became the spark that lit all future generations. And that path leads straight to you. Their story isn't just history, it's part of your DNA. Like, follow, and share to keep their fire burning.